And only if you can recognize a flavor you have. Hey
everybody, it's Colin at Shane Steel Labs. So this is the first live stream that I'm doing. I'm probably gonna do one later this week or later this evening. Quick shop update for the most part. It's I sent out everything to Peter's Heat Treating, so that's Venatus 8, Z-Wear, CPM 4V, as well as the Z-Tough Bowie project. And that's pretty much it. That's going out to heat treat. I have about 13 knives at Peter's Heat Treat right now. They're Van Axe, but I think there's like 7 or 8 of those. 3 in CPM, S90V, and then 3 more in, hold on a second, Z-Fin, there we go. So those hopefully should come back soon. It's starting to pick up there because Blade Show is next month, which I'll be attending. Hopefully you guys will see me there. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm playing with light knife here. This is something from Chuck Richards. This is CPM 3V at 60 Rockwell. He has a great heat treatment from this. He does Peter's heat treating as well. Excuse me. And this is one of the parasites. Hold on a second. Let me pause this. There we go. This is actually one of the original parasites. So I don't know if you guys can see that great, but you know, carbon fiber scales, carbon fiber pins, CPM 3V. It's got a little swedge up there. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. 3/16 thick. I believe this was hardened to 60 Rockwell. These are sweet, and obviously you can tell that this has been well used by the client. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll grab the other Z-Wear knife really quickly. I'm not sure who is watching, but I know that one person is, which is nice. Just give me a second, and we'll move into the kitchen because I think that's where the other knife is. All right, so this is one of my earlier Z-Wear models. This is a personal carry, which I mean, I beat on it, regrind it. So this is Z-Wear at 62 Rockwell. This is not the low temper protocol, so this is tempered at 1,000 degrees a couple times. It's essentially 0 ground. It's still super, super sharp. I'm running out of arm hair though, so. You can see that? I was overexposed, can't even see that. Well, it's taking hair off really easily. Not really sure what else you guys want me to talk about. I'm not sure if people can comment or send feedback or of any kind. So that's pretty much it. It's just a quick live test. Hopefully the video quality comes out good. Hopefully, you know, a couple people see it. Oh, another shop update. So if you guys haven't noticed on Instagram, I'm a full-time knife maker at this point in time, which is awesome and a little bit terrifying at the same time. So I am gonna be trying to find like a little part-time job just to, you know, pay actual bills and stuff like that. But if everything goes well and I get my orders finished up, I should be able to maintain full-time status. I've been thinking about doing this since like a year or two into knife making. I really enjoy it. I've definitely thought about it for the past 3 years. It's just, you know, wasn't able to do it. Other than that, I'm very excited for the whole full-time process. My friend said I could borrow his heat treating oven for the time being until I get one. His is analog, so I ordered some 26C3, I believe. They call it Spicy White on Alpha Knife Supply. Well, it's labeled as 26C3. No. Yeah, 26C3. So I guess it's in between Hitachi white and blue steel. So it's supposed to have like over 1% carbon, and it's supposed to have like, you know, really good hardenability. So it's supposed to reach like 64 plus Rockwell, depending on what you run for tempering. So I'm going to shoot for 63 or 62 or so. And then I have my Dakota Project knives, so I'm going to heat treat those. I went to Lowe's yesterday. I picked up some quench tanks, which is just these, galvanized buckets that are like this long. They're deep. I'm going to figure out a way to make the most of the gallon of quench oil that I bought. So I bought 1 gallon of AAA medium speed and 1 gallon of Parks 50. And Parks 50 is wicked expensive. I looked at 5 gallons and it's like $200, and then the other stuff is like 120 for 5 gallons. But I don't, I just started. I don't want to blow all my money. I still have bills to pay. So hopefully that goes well. I'm going to pick up the oven hopefully earlier this weekend or early next week because I'm doing some stuff this weekend at the local Boy Scout troop. I won't be available to do knife stuff. Other than that, I have the 2 quench tanks. I bought gloves. I bought like some pliers for it. I just need to get some bricks that I can line the quench tanks because I only have a gallon of quenching oil. So I figured, through simple displacement, you can just put a bunch of bricks in there on the sides, and that gives me the full gallon, and I can quench in there. Other than that, that's pretty much it. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to text me or email. Email is probably the best way to get a hold of me. But books are still currently closed. I opened stuff last week when I started full time, but that was just for stuff that I have in stock. I still have ZAP, the ZA11 alloy, so it is the equivalent of CPM 10V. So hopefully that comes out nice. Just nobody's ordering any, so books are still open for that steel. They're about 158 thousandths thick, so 0.158 inches thick. They're little. I think they're almost 13 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. So I could either get 4 knives out of it that are smaller, or I could get 2 longer knives with little end cuts or something like that, and like bottle openers out of them. That's typically what I do, or like little scrapers. But that's pretty much it. I don't know if anybody that's watching is interested in anything else. But that's a lot of Rex 121. I still haven't used Rex 121 yet. But points. That's ridiculous. That's wicked funny. I haven't used Rex 121 yet, but I do hope to use it because I think you can get that stuff over 70 Rockwell. I think it maxes out at like 70 or 70 and a half, maybe 71. I'm not perfectly sure about the 71, but I know Triple B Handmade has done stuff at 70, and he's had some really good results with that. I just have a lot of orders that I haven't been able to really mess around with a lot of the new stuff. I'm excited about the Venatus 8. That I'm going to have hardened to 64, I believe. Oh, so you can hit 671 with the Rex 121. Okay. I think I've heard of it hit 71. I don't think I've actually seen it. Maybe it was him that got that ground out to 71. I know that stuff is just like a nightmare to grind. So you got to do everything before heat treat. I know even when I used S110V, and that was a nightmare in the belts too. I used a ton of belts on that stuff. I'm excited to see stuff about Vancron. So I've heard a little bit about it. I think I looked at the Spyderco forum. That was where I first saw it. And then somebody on Blade Forums had talked about it. So essentially, I haven't really researched Vancron a whole lot, but it's so basically it's supposed to be kind of like K390, but with more edge stability and nitrogen, which is pretty sweet. As for S110V, yeah, it's absolutely a belt killer. I went through 3 220 grit ceramic belts on one knife, and the blade was like a little bit shorter than this, and it was not as tall. It was like probably half the width of that. And this is one of the counselors from Chuck Richards Knives in 3V, but it was maybe a little bit more than half the width of this knife. and it was just destroyed belts. I actually cut through a couple belts sharpening it with a 220 grit. That's why I went through so many, because I was sharpening it and then just right through it, sliced right through it. So you got to, flip it around. I need to see if I can get reverse speed on my grinder, hopefully. But as for Vancron, I'd like to see more of it in knives as well. But as far as I know, there's only one person that supplies it to the United States. So I have to talk to him, see how much it costs, and then either talk to Peter's Heat Treating, see if they can heat treat it, or talk to other makers to see what the best hardness for it would be and like what the best heat treat protocol was. I've actually been looking on my phone through Blade forums. Hold on a second. I have tons of stuff heat treating wise. So the extra chromium and niobium make getting a super fine edge in S110V kind of difficult. Honestly, for the S110V, I had it sharpened down to 600 grit, which is a silicon carbide belt. Broke the burr of the buffing wheel, and then I took out what's it called? And then I took it down to a 1 micron for the strop with a 600 grit edge. And I really liked how aggressive the edge was in the S110V. It just destroyed a lot of belts. Just doesn't cut the same on diamond. Do you mean it doesn't cut the same sharpening on diamond stuff versus silicon carbide, or? Because I actually just ordered some practical sharpening diamond sharpening stones, the bench ones. So I think it was like 50 slash, hold on a second. What did I order? I know one of them was the 20-15 or 14. And then the other one is a slightly more aggressive stone. Yeah, so the 20-14 and the 20 and the 50-40. So that's going to give me like a nice aggressive edge that I'm looking for. That's a little bit more refined. As for the heat treating stuff that I was talking about, I did the 26 C3, which is spicy white. I have a bunch of stuff written down for 4V, but I need to research that a little bit more. I have 8670 down for what I need to do. Z-Wear, I have worked the Z-Wear for a long time, so I'm really good with Z-Wear. I have 2 different heat treats that I can use for it, and I can mess with a lot of the stuff's low temper. I can do the high temper, it changes it a little bit. LMAX I've written down. I got to research that a little bit more. PSF 27, which is basically the same as D2. It's just spray formed. So I've been researching that for a really, really long time, trying to find the information that I needed, which I finally did. Nathan the Machinist, I looked at a lot of his posts about D2, so I'm trying to find out what I can get more about that. All right, S110V. Everything right now for my sharpening is all done on my grinder. I don't have any of those CBN or resin bonded diamond right now. I have the metallic bonded 40-50 stones and the 2014 stones coming in. So everything right now is just 600 grit or 800 grit right off the grinder. And then I strop it with the buffing wheel to take the burr off, and then after that I'll strop it with either the 4-sided strop I have, or if it's like the high carbon or the high carbide steels, I'll use the diamond emulsion from Bastard Beads and Drops, which I really like. I haven't used any of the nano stones, but I've heard good stuff about the 1000 grit. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get these new stones so I can push a little bit more of a fine edge, because I typically like a 600 grit edge, but I've gone up to 1000 before with different knives a long time ago, and I liked how that cut. So I'm shooting for 1000 grit. Really, the reason I'm doing the 1000 is because the Dakota project is going to be in Z-Wear PM, but that's going to be 290 thousandths thick Z-Wear. It's going to be flat ground for the first probably 3/4 of the blade, and then I'm going to convex the last quarter. and it's going to have a swedge in the back. So that's why I wanted the 1000 grip, because then I can really get that super fine, keen edge that's really aggressive at the same time for the Blade Sports competition. I was going to try to shoot for it this year, but I don't know if I was being lazy or I had too many orders, but I don't think it's going to happen this year, which really sucks. But I'm going to try to, I have those two 8670 that I'm going to heat treat. I'll mess around with those, and hopefully that'll be good. Any more questions? $600. All right, I'll have to check into those too. I've been looking into what is it, the Practical Sharpening for a while. I know that's a good brand. I've been hearing about that a lot. But I know that Triple B Handmade, so Big Brown Bear, has been messing around with CBN stones. He's having them custom made. I don't know who's making them, but I'm really interested to see those. I think that'll be really cool. Yeah, he's got a lot of information. He's really picked up. I remember when he first started knife making, and he's like, this is really hard. I don't know if I'm going to keep going with it. And then he stuck with it, and now he's using all these crazy steels and pushing them super hard, crazy thin. So that's good. So I'm happy that it's, he's pushed himself to come where he's at this point. He's beat me full time. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But hopefully, I plan to be full time consistently. I don't think there's too much else going on. Yeah, I'm excited to see that too. I think Practical Sharpening might be doing something with that. I don't know, but I know Triple B is doing the vitrified CBN, and that's going to be sweet. I really am excited to try that out. Because I've been seeing his stuff as an Instagram, and he'll start sharpening stuff at like, I'll have to check that out. Oh yeah, that's expensive. Yeah, I know all the vitrified stuff. It's way better for sharpening from what I was told. But it's really expensive because the process it's just a complicated process, so it's expensive. But I mean, I'm not a professional sharpener by any means, but I'd like to get, really, really good edges on my knives. Like, nothing comes out of here dull. Can't be a knife maker and ship out stuff that's dull. But I'm excited to see the vitrified CBN. I'll have to check out JKI for the 800 grit stones though. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. As long as they last a really long time, that shouldn't be too bad. I mean, $400 is still really high. But if you're either a professional sharpener or you're a maker like myself, and you use those steels, you're really going to want that extra bite in the steel. And if it doesn't dish very much or wear out too unevenly, and it stays flat for a long time, and it lasts a really long time for a bunch of years, then it might be worth the full price of that 400. But right now, I mean, that's expensive. Oh, that's good. If the wear is non-existent, that's good. Yeah, because I have the metallic bonded plates coming in for the diamond from Practical Sharpening, and that I'm excited about. I'm excited to get those in. He's shipping them out today. I think the stuff that he had in his personal stock, one of them was like off a little bit. I guess it was like slightly dished, or there was a manufacturing defect. So he's like, I'm going to have them factory send it to you, and there's going to be no delay, or no additional delay, which is cool. So that's good. The only thing that sucks about those is you got to dress it with the acid to dress the stones. But I mean, I can get ferric chloride, no problem. $120. That's not too bad. $120. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are just afraid of the acid. Like, you just gotta, make sure you put your nitrile gloves on, and then I don't know how long you're supposed to let it sit there, but it's like 5 or 10 minutes or something like that, and then you just, rinse it off, and with baking soda to neutralize the acid and stuff like that, rinse it off nice and good. I'm not super I haven't used like the Japanese water stones like really ever, so I'm not used to like the splash and go or soak stones. I assume these don't have to be soaked. You can just use water. I mean, anytime I've used diamond stuff has been like a DMT sharpener. You just use it dry. But all this stuff seems like you got to use it wet. I mean, I'm always learning, so I'm just been doing belt sharpening for a long time. When I first started, I didn't even use the belt, and you like kind of set it on the belt, and then I'd sharpen it on a whetstone. But now that I've done, what is it? Now that I've done, Z-Wear, S110V, Van X, which I really love, like all those, super steels, so to speak. Like, the whetstones just don't cut it. They're not aggressive enough, and most of the time they're not even hard enough to cut the steel once you get past that 3% vanadium or 3% total of the carbide formers. You start getting issues with sharpening on regular stones. All right, so I think I'm pretty much going to end the chat. Hopefully you guys found this informative. This is really just a test. Yeah, carbide tear out. So personally, I've never seen it. But I think you got to use like, even pressure and like sharp stones. I've really never experienced it because I just used the silicon carbide belts when I was sharpening the S110V. Same thing with the S90V. But I mean, I never really go past that 1,000 grit mark. Like there's really no need for me. All right, you have a great day too, man. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. I mean, I think 1,000 grit, it's not really going to be too big of an issue. But I've heard about it with like S90V, S110, Maximet, Rex 121. Maybe not as much Rex 121, but I've heard about carbide tear out and a lot of other stuff. But all right, I'll catch you guys later. I got to order some more business cards because I'm pretty much out, or I am out. And then that's pretty much it. I might do a video later tonight or tomorrow, maybe with have a glass of whiskey, talk about knives, bring some stuff up from upstairs or downstairs actually, and then kind of go from there. So catch you guys later. Take it easy and stay sharp.